Hi class! This video is about the final exams. After checking 46 test papers, I've noticed patterns and trends and might as well give a collective feedback based on your answers. As you know, I usually teach third-year students and I've noticed that they don't hit the spot in terms of answering. So, might as well remedy them for you guys as you are mostly first years and second years. And I think you all could benefit too, even if you're already in your third, fourth, or fifth years, like some are in my G04 class. While I did give some individual feedback, I noticed that a lot are really common mistakes and common patterns, and it's really important that arestuhin na natin ito as early as first year. This video is composed of two parts, more on the form and about the exam. The other one would be on the substantive portion, because the first part is to thank the Beadles, Mr. De Maano and Miss Dan, who have done spectacularly well as my Beadles. I apologize for anything that any hassle that I might have caused you, but thank you for doing such a good job. Okay, it's not easy being Beadles, no, class. It really is sometimes a 24/7 job. No? Thank you, Miss Andan and Mr. De Maano, for doing such a good job. Alright, so let's talk about the exam. Okay, as you've noticed in the exam, it's actually a mix of practical life applications, especially on the part on the pandemic, and also what we see currently that are on trend. Basic legal ethics is actually not like most laws. Actually, it is not as updated because I think there are a lot of trends and happening, and the advent of technology sometimes make it difficult to apply basic or traditional legal ethics principles. So that's why I put in there the question about TikTok, about Twitter, and that data privacy breach, the application of a data privacy example, because I think we really have to be on top of these trends, because as you've noticed in the cases, it would take 5 years, 3 to 5 years before the Supreme Court decides on it. So might as well be able to, like, tease our minds about it. The other part of the exam is based actually on previous bar exams. So I don't know if you've Googled it, or maybe you didn't have time for it, but it's also really good how to look at how bar exam questions are phrased. The example on Zuma, Christine and Zuma, the one who confessed his guilt to Attorney Christine, that is a bar exam question. While we were not able to discuss this in class, I think it's really important to also reflect. Okay, the answer to that, class, is in a criminal case, you really have to defend your client. In a civil case, it's a lot more different. Allow me to talk about some form and about the initial portion of the exam. Some of the portions of the exam that I need to tell you is that, first of all, you have to read instructions carefully. A few of you were not able to look at the first part in which you should provide an example. So that's why I gave you a 2 or a 3 in that part, because it's not following instructions. Okay, and I hate it when students don't follow instructions, so I have to be less forgiving on that. Second part is to read the question carefully. Some of you did not read the question carefully because your answers were not responsive. That's why you have, like, instead of full points, it's only like 2 or 1. Third part is to proofread your answers. I know some of you might have a lesser time or time pressured very much, but some of you did not prove it properly, and I think you have to be conscious about that, because as I've told you earlier, we grade you based on form as well. So, if mairita kami, then talagang, if mabwisit ba? Now, let's use that term. If nakakabwisit, then kahit na tama naman siguro yung sagot mo, pero mali-mali yung form mo, edi talagang bibigyan namin kayo ng like 1 or 2, even though deserving siya ng 3 or 5, for example. Okay, so iwasan nyo yon. Ano ang common examples? Punctuation. I don't know if you guys were just sloppy for not putting proper punctuation, the use of colon, the use of semicolon, the use of period, but it's just unacceptable as early as now, okay? So please revisit your rules on punctuation so that you won't replicate the same mistake in your future exams. Another one would be on the use of he or she. If the problem states a she, then your answer should be a she. There's no reason to put it in a he. And in some of the individual feedback, what I put there was, if the problem has a she and then you cite the law, you can actually put it like in her professional dealings, even though the code of professional responsibility would use his. That's fine. Okay, so these class are very few and minor details, but I think you would benefit by becoming sharp even in the manner of form.
It's 1 o'clock.
And a lot of you actually did not stick to this or forgot about this, which is sometimes you get a 2 points out of 3 or maybe a 3 out of 4 by this reason alone. Okay, so hopefully you will learn from this, because I'm actually a lot more forgiving. Some teachers are actually very strict about it, so allow us to correct you as to form, as to English, and I think it really is time that you also revisit as early as now, as first years and second years. Okay? Alright. Class, this is the sample answer of Attorney Fiona's viral post. This is a question on criminal law, on appreciating cruelty as an aggravating circumstance based on the facts. So this one got a full 5 points, to which I agree, because the form, the structure really fits in to how we should be trained for as early as in law school, and also in preparation for the bar. So I really want you to master this in the same manner. I would just like to add or modify that I would have put in the second paragraph a mention about law. You don't need to say the exact provision. It is actually advised against it, but if you know it, that's fine. I would put in the second paragraph that under the law, under the revised penal code, cruelty can only be appreciated as an aggravating circumstance. Under jurisprudence, you can use those words, but definitely this answer deserves a 5 point based on form. And so we reproduce again here the text of the viral post of Attorney Fiona Lau. This actually, class, is again composed of 3 portions: the yes or no as your categorical answer, followed by your factual reason. You don't actually, most would say you don't need a factual reason, but I don't find any objection to that. And then you proceed with your legal reason, the second paragraph, which you provide your legal basis. As I've said in the previous, in the example, I would add under the law, under jurisprudence, based on the revised penal code, or whatever legal basis that you can find. Just make sure that you're able to point that. Okay? And then the third paragraph, for her, it's in this case. You can also use in the case at bar as applied to this case, here, comma. Okay, you can vary it, because you don't want to have like in the case at bar, because that would mean you're lazy, and that would mean you have a limited vocabulary, and we would deduct you probably your points. Okay, and I would like to show to you your common answers to this question on most despicable ground a lawyer can commit based on section 27 and rule 138. There is a tie between grossly immoral conduct and conviction of a crime involving moral turpitude. You 10 and 10. That's a very good indication, class, about how you feel strongly about this ground, which is different from your answers in the follow-up question, which most of you were very varied. No, I think all of you answered like all of the grounds, which is not your usual. For G04, there is also a tie, or almost a tie, between grossly immoral conduct and a conviction of a crime involving moral turpitude. Deceit got 1, and the other grounds are not as important. And same as G01, it really, your idea that it is difficult, that is most despicable, does not mean it will apply to you. So thank you, class, for your answers. So after talking about form, let's talk about the substance of some of the questions in the final exam, okay? But again, I have 5 reminders. I have some reminders for all of you before we jump in. First reminder, class, is it is not about getting the correct answer, although it would assure you of full points, but it's always about how you argue, Okay, I've said in class that a dissent, if argued over and over again over time, will become the majority ruling, will become precedent. Okay, so even though it's not the correct answer, it's not in line, sometimes a beautifully phrased argument sometimes, not all the time, deserve a full point. Okay, a full score, because that means that the law student, an aspiring lawyer to be, knows how to argue, and that is a skill that we want to teach you as you go on from first year to second year until you graduate. Okay, a second reminder class would be, do not answer so casually. Okay, there were few of you who answered so casually that the form was lost. It was amusing, it is amusing, but I think class you shouldn't. Okay, you can get away with it in recitation, but in exams you shouldn't. It is expected that you are formal, therefore you follow the form, you follow the structure that we've just discussed earlier. Okay, so please class, don't treat this as conversational in exams, because there really is no reason for you to be conversational. Okay, third reminder, always justify your answer. I made it in the instructions, I put it in the instructions that the simple yes or no without an explanation would merit an automatic 0. Similar to first reminder class about arguing, you really should substantiate. It spells the difference between having a 0 score and a 1 or possibly 2 score if it's out of 5 or out of 4 or 3. Okay? Class, puhunan natin ang makipag-argue. At ang argument natin ay kailangan mayroong legal basis palagi, 'di ba? Cite your law, cite your jurisprudence, cite the rules, cite whatever you have, the constitution. Okay? Basta legal basis, kailangan mo i-cite 'yan. Okay? Fourth reminder class, do not qualify your answer. Please lang, okay? Some of you answered yes if Alright, let's go to some questions about the exam, okay? I have here in my notes about the prostate cancer awareness, okay? About the MCLE, the suspended authority as a legal assistant, the post-op transsexual, the violation of the jaywalking, the lawyer and his videotapes, the TikTok example, Pride March, the piece on the judge, the sole question on the judicial ethics, the lawyer's oath, and also about the bonus for G01, okay? So, yeah, about the prostate cancer class now, all of you got 3 points because I think it's how you argue, again, no? But allow me to provide a background about that. In my first year, when I was taking up legal profession, that's our equivalent for ethics in UP, a 2-unit subject fusing legal profession and legal ethics. No? I remember class, I had a blockmate. She's now an attorney. She's taking up her JSD, the PhD in law in Oxford University. She was offered to pose semi-naked or probably naked, no, covering some parts for a photo shoot. Okay, I was okay with it. Our other friends were not okay with it. Okay, and I was wondering why. Okay, those who said that it's not proper was they don't want to have like an in-rape. They don't want it be read in the Supreme Court, no, to be disciplined. Well, for me, we're actually a minority. We thought that it's not. Okay, so that's why class in my feedback, I want you to read at the source of where I got that. And then also class, the application of a constitutional law principle, the test of obscenity. Most of you class, if you look deeper at your answers, it really tackled if it was obscene, if it offended the moral sense of the community. Because if it did, then it would be considered as probably immoral or grossly immoral conduct. Okay, so you look at class the application of the test of obscenity, no? And I think the most important part about that is if there's anything that alludes to prurient interest. Okay, so as you can see, class, no, the study of law is interconnected, and you can apply that actually. If you're going to ask me, I'm still going to stick to the answer that as it is not obscene, as it is, I wouldn't actually look at it at the cause, no, but it's the final product that I'm also going to look at to see if it actually degraded the legal profession. But for me, as of now, I wouldn't say she should be sanctioned. Okay, he would be sanctioned, no, for that. Okay. What about, a few of you answered that this was solicitation. There were like about 5, and I don't know why it would be considered a solicitation. So yeah, but thank you, class, no. At least one viewpoint that I am aware of. Okay, about the MCLE class, I'm really happy that you were able to spot the other portion. Some of you said it's in violation of the MCLE in which there's a personal appearance necessary based on Canon 5. Some of you said that, which I agree, which is my answer, that she was being dishonest because she sent a representative, no, not her. That's deceitful, right? And then a few of you, very few of you, said both. Okay, which is good. Why? Because you were able to spot issues properly. Okay, class, there is no right. Both are correct answers, and for me, I appreciated how you argue and as you applied the law to the facts of the case. Okay, I mentioned in the G04 class that this is actually based on real life, no? A bar top-notcher from a famous law school over the past 5 years, class, actually committed this, no? And alam niyo yung storya, sa gobyerno kasi siya nagtatrabaho, so maraming mga inggit. Okay, so ayun, sinumbong siya. Alright, so how do I know? I have personal knowledge because I was the one who notarized one of the witnesses' affidavits. Diba? So ingat lang, class, no? Ingat lang kayo. Okay, so how would you rule about that? Right? I mean, she's smart, she's pretty. Yeah, okay. What else? Suspended authority, legal assistant. A lot of you argued well, no? Some said it was not practice of law. Some said it's practice of law because it's just merely Xerox, merely following, gathering documents. So there really is no application of the legal knowledge, no? And it's really good how you were able to cite ULEP versus ULEP case, and then the Cayetano versus Monsod case. All of these classes are excellent, okay? There is really, it's a developing class, no? If you'd like to, if you believe that it's not developing, it actually is a developing as to how the practice of law really is, okay? Because it is developing. I'll just leave it at that, okay? But thankfully you answered those well, and it's an example of how how you argue could still merit you like a full points, okay? I'm really curious about this question about the failure to state. Okay, class, I had an office mate, no? I was the one who interviewed her, and she's a post-op transsexual, so post-operation transsexual, and she's now a lawyer, going 2 years. And I actually was curious because, you know, you don't meet transsexuals like post-op like most of the time, right? And I actually asked her about it, about how she felt about it, and that's the origin of the question. Most of you answered, class, no? I surveyed, most of you said yes, she committed a violation because she was being disrespectful. And most of you applied Republic versus Silverio case, in which there is no law that allows, which the ruling says there is no law that allows the change. So of a birth certificate from male to female, even though you're physically female. A lot of you got that. Thank goodness, you know your substantive law. But my question is, would she be committing an ethical transgression by placing that she is a she? Okay, so it's not a, if you think class it's a clear cut, no, it's really, for me it's not, no, it's developing. If we want to become a society that says we have we are not discriminating on the basis of sex, it's really a field that we have to consider, di ba? Kasi kung meron siyang kaaway, sabihin niya, hindi ka naman, nagsinungaling ka. Sabi mo, female ka, lalaki ka, right? So, most of you said yes, she committed. For me, class, I don't think she did. Okay? I don't think she did. And some of you also mentioned, class, like Article 412 of the Civil Code. That's how you answer it, class, no? That's good. You know your substantive law. Even in your other answers, that's really good, class, because again, that's how you apply other, no? By now, you learn that all the laws that you've learned previously, like last sem, could still be applied in your future. So don't study law in silos, okay? In isolation. They're interconnected, class, okay? The principles, the application, all right? I'd just like to point out some of you, very few of you answered he. I mean, why, class? She considers herself a she, so let's give it to her. The jaywalking, no? I'd just like to point out my individual feedback for everyone is, do Canon 1 and Rule 1.01 cover city and municipal ordinances? Because, class, that's a deeper question, okay? Because the follow-up question would be if it involves moral turpitude or not, right? Because, for example, if you violate, like, if the city or municipal ordinance would say that you have to wear face masks, right, in this pandemic, right, is that if you violate that, do you commit a crime of moral turpitude, for example? No, so that's the follow-up question. But I ask that question, class, because if you violated the jaywalking, the anti-jaywalking ordinances of Metro Manila, or if you have like a speeding ticket, no, issued by the LTO, which is also asked in a latter portion of the exam, are you liable? Okay, Attorney Katrina Legarda is of the opinion no. Okay, dapat yung crimes involving moral turpitude lang daw. Okay, so that's something we should consider. I actually agree with her. I don't think it's something unethical because we can be dishonest, class. It depends on the circumstances. But I think this one, the answer should be it's not as clear cut. Okay. Sorry. Let me correct that. The answer, class, should be able to define. Should follow the guideline that I just asked. No. Do the laws in Canon 1 and Rule 1.01 include violation of city or municipal ordinances? Okay, so just think about that, because I agree with Attorney Kat Legarda when she said jaywalking, driver citation, traffic citation are not. Okay, this question about the lawyer and his videotapes, this is where I found most of the qualifiers. Sabi nila yes, if she consented, if they consented. Again, please don't answer like that, no? But more importantly, it goes to show, class, that some of you answered it's his personal life. If it's not discovered, then that's okay. Okay, in addition to the consent, right? Some said that it is, because you shouldn't be having like a sex video collection in the first place, no? So I don't think we have an answer, class, no? Yun nga, if discovered, I think that would really be a clear violation. But if not, diba, then that's preventable, right? You could also argue that it's preventable. Actually, my original question, class, was what about if he kept like a video collection of himself masturbating, right? Would you consider that more evil, such that he would be violating legal ethics? I mean, does it matter ba na yung video collection niya ay may kasama siyang mga kasex niya or yung sarili lang niya, no? So, di ba, class, think about it, no? Because as I've told you in class, no, there are actually a lot of lawyers, class, who actually have sex collections. So, as a law student, balaan ko na kayo, okay? I'll leave it at that. All right? TikTok example, no? This is very curious, class. Most of you said no because there's no lawyer-client relationship. If meron man siyang abogado, then siya yung sisihin, hindi siya, right? Which is on point. The other one is about the giving of free legal advice, which is relation to solicitation, okay? Plus, ito yung weird ng basic legal ethics. We are not allowed to solicit, right? We are not allowed to say na, hi, hire me. I am a lawyer. I am magaling. I am from UP College of Law. I teach at DLSU College of Law. You are not allowed to do that. But then, you can give free legal advice, right? There are lots of legal aid clinics, yung mga free legal consultations. An applicant walks in, a client walks in, and then you just give like dispense, like, you know, parang cash dispense, parang ATM. So, on the one hand, pwede mo gawin yon, pero hindi ka pwede mag-solicit. Kailangan sila talaga yung lumalapit sa iyo. Right? So, the TikTok example, two of you said, no, out of the 46, it's no different than people giving legal advice on TV or on radio. To which I was also began to pause about the difference for the two is there's an actual person asking. This one is just so generic, so general that it could apply to anybody, right? Like to this avid fan. So I then began thinking further, class, no, about an ideal. Okay, I mean, how about, eto, nilagay ko siya, class, sa notes ko. How about if we just give our legal knowledge, no? I think, class, I have to agree that we should push for legal education as much as we can to those who are not schooled in law, no? Imagine if the Philippine citizenry, empowered with the knowledge of the laws of the land, able to defend themselves from any anomaly without need of lawyers immediately. Wouldn't we get the better of it? People who know their taxes or business compliances or their signing of contracts and knowing if it needs to be notarized or not. Shouldn't we celebrate such an ideal that our role is to correct or guide them now instead of only us possessing monopoly of said knowledge and educate? Diba? Because I don't think we would be unemployed just because a citizenry is empowered, right? The Legal Education Summit last year, class, it was really a big discussion on legal education. And most of the deans agree, no? They are okay with having an empowered citizenry in which every individual knows, or most individuals know their laws, right? May kinabang naman lahat eh. Para wala nang litigation, na mga pwede naman maisaayos lang, di ba? Para hindi na gumastos yung mga tao. So it was a really good discussion, no? We were part of it last year. I went to 2 cities. I also in Manila Hotel. So, di ba, class? Kung ako bala ko mag-TikTok, right? Magbigay ng legal advice, no? Should I be violating CPR? Diba? Ayan. Last 3, okay? The Pride March, no? Class, it happens in real life, alright? Most of you, the question, class, is there a lawyer-client relationship? But think about it, class. Would you be violating if you see that happen in real life, no? Class, I actually have experienced it, right? But good thing there was another lawyer who stepped in, right? Is that lawyer in violation? Because he did, you know, siya yung nagsabi eh. Most of you, all of you are correct, no? You should have, the client should be the one, the applicant should be the one to go to you, not you go to them, right? And offer your services. But in this example, may mga mali eh, based on facts. So, hayaan mo na lang ba? Okay? So, what would you do, class, no? What would you do, right? The piece on the judge, no? I just wanted to try something different on the judge, no? It's a 2001 article. It's really beautifully written. I don't know if the has a lawyer background, but it's really, really good. I hope you appreciated it, no? And just wanted to tell you, class, that portion is 5 for your sharing your thoughts and 5 about the application. So if you get like less than 5, that means you didn't hit the bullseye, or maybe you were just scrimping, no? A lot of you that I expected to do well on it didn't, and a lot of you that, you know, I was like pleasantly surprised. So, class, if the question asks about your personal thoughts, I think I'm the very few lawyers who do that in exams. Please, all out, okay? If the exam is about formal questions like essay, like bar exam questions, then please answer formally. But in these types of questions, go all out. Share what you think, say what you feel, put down what you think, okay? And finally, about the lawyer's oath, can I just say that some of you got 10 points because you didn't say your name? You just said I. Say your name, class, no? And the bar exam class, we were told that if you put your name, then the justice class, the examiner for legal ethics, would be assured na gustong-gusto mo talaga to, no? I don't know if that's right or wrong, but think about it, class, no? If you put it I, your name, as if you were already the lawyer, okay? It will apply to you, as most of you will be under the revised law student practice rule in the law student practice oath, no? Which is patterned after the lawyer's oath. But, you know, it's really good to have it already, no? And to think about how it is applicable already to you, okay? And as for the bonus for G01, there's meron ding common patterns, no? Dean Jokno got 4. Justice Carpio Morales, the former ombudsman, also got 3. Justice Leonen, my former boss, got 3. Justice Carpio got 2, and Attorney Katrina Legarda got 2. Okay, that's only for G01. G04, I did not ask that question anymore. Okay, thank you for your sharing about it, class, because it really shows the question na class, no, about the reflection. If you have a lawyer in mind that you look up to, is it because you know that he or she is magaling, or dahil meron siyang integrity, di ba? Sa UP class, they would say honor and excellence. But for ethics class, it's about excellence and integrity. People you look up to, especially sa lawyers, no? As I said in some of the feedbacks that I gave, I don't have a lawyer when I was a law student, when I was studying law. So, ano siya, class? Swerte kayo if you have that question. Kasi ako, class, wala talaga. I just really took it like sem per sem. But if you're going to ask me, class, na I didn't know later on until he was a lawyer, the person I look up to na related sa law, hindi si Dean Leonen. Kasi si Dean Leonen was, although he was my boss, I was his research assistant for Mindanao Peace Project, and then my boss in the OPAP, and he was part of the panel. Iba klase kapag boss, alam mo, iba at that time, no? Nahihirapan ako ng class, but of course I look up to him. I'm so happy to see him every time in gatherings. But to me, class, the answer of a lawyer na I would look up to only because of his achievements, which answers my question about excellence, is Senator Amad Dumukao Alonto, no? So he is actually, class, the one who MSU is the way to go. It's cheap, it's like UP, it's excellent, no? So I didn't know that he was a lawyer pala, no? I knew he graduated from UP. He was the reason, class, why I actually joined my fraternity in UP, Upsilon Sigma Phi. So he was really a trailblazer, no? During his times in the 30s, 40s, 50s. He became senator. He was privileged, but he used that very well. Also, class, no, he was the one who put in the civil service law the amendment on making sure that the Eid al-Fitr and Eid al-Adha, which is a holiday on 30 or on 31, depends, no, on the moon sighting, before it became national law. So nilagay niya doon, and it's a holiday before, previously under PD 1083 in some portions of Mindanao before, such as my hometown in Iligan City. Okay, so that's the lawyer. Although mas na-impress ako sa kanya, hindi sa pagiging lawyer na, I didn't even know he was a lawyer until later on. But really, you are also blessed to have that, to think, no, whether it's a family member or not. Thank you, class, for sharing. It's really important, class, that I think for me, in the study of law, you have to have this, because it's something that I would want to change if I were to do things a little differently in law school. Okay, kung pwede lang sana i-cite yung dad ko, no? He's my hero. He's the figure I really look up to up until now. So, but no, he's not a lawyer. He's a doctor in Marawi City. So, and anyway, ang haba na ng video na to, class. Thank you so much for listening to my vlog. Joke lang. Thank you so much, class, now for everything, no? For the whole semester. I know this is not the ideal time to learn and to study and to pursue law school, but really, class, it's all about your priority, no? I've heard, class, from other former students that meron din daw mga binabagsak, no? But I don't know. I initially really wanted to be strict, but I don't know, siguro sobrang mabait lang talaga ako. No, your grades reflect your effort in this class, and my contribution to your legal education is that I really want the 84.67% DLSU law passing average. It would increase to about 100%, right? 100% tayo sa legal ethics pag kayo na mag-take ng bar exam, class. Okay, so I really hope, class, no, you learned a lot from what we did in ethics. Again, wag niyong small time ng ethics, kahit 5% yan, kasi marami talagang bumabag sa class sa ethics, no? So kawawa na yung mga hindi magiging abogado dahil hindi nila hindi sila nag-focus sa ethics. Okay, I'm really happy, class, that nairaos natin ito, and I hope, class, na you are also happy with how you did well, because you deserve a pat in the back for both G01 and G04 classes. I am honored to have taught you in this class, and I just hope that you will remember your legal ethics in 3-4 years. Come time when you 2 years now, when you take up your PALE or in your bar exam. Okay, so I'll see you around, and stay safe. Okay, thanks, guys.